Many Waters by Madeleine L'Engle, Chapter 11. Many waters cannot quench love. Yalith went out into the desert. She was anxious and anything but sleepy. She wanted to fling herself into Matred's lap and sob, as though she were still a little girl. She wanted to cry herself to sleep. But she was no longer a little girl, and her eyes felt dry and burning. She was not used to being out at this time of day. She was not sure what drew her to the desert, because there was no hope that she might see Ariel. He would be in his cave sleeping. Nevertheless, she walked in that direction, and as she approached, she was amazed to see him lying in the shadows of the mouth of the cave. Although she was certain it was Ariel, she was cautious. She had been certain that it was Ariel the lion. She had been certain that it was Ariel when the lion turned into the dragon, lizard, Eplis. She whispered, Ariel. The lion rose, stretched, yawned, and paced toward her. Oh, Ariel! She flung her arms about the tawny neck, though her tears were spent. We don't know where the sand is. Grandfather Lamech sent him to get my father. The sand knew that grandfather was dying, so he gave the camel to my father, so that he could get back to grandfather Lamech in time, and the sand said that he would walk back, and grandfather died, and everybody was thinking about him, and we didn't even notice at first that the sand was not with any of us, and then we had to bury grandfather, and Ariel, we don't know what has happened. Ariel let her talk. When her voice faded and she pressed her face once again into his fur, he transformed slowly, gently, until Chelsea was enfolded in his wings. Higgaion has gone to scent for him. He's left grandfather's grave? For the living, yes. The Den and Japheth will go with him. Oh, that's good. I'm glad. Higgaion will be sure to find him, and Japheth will know what to do, and the Den too. Ariel drew her into the shade of the entrance of his cave. Ariel, my father is going to build a boat, an enormous boat. That is wise, Ariel said gravely. For my brothers and their wives, for animals of every kind, yes, to preserve the species. But not for my sisters, Sira and Hogleth, and their husbands and children, not for Mala and her Nephil baby, not for me, not for me. Ariel drew her close. Many waters cannot quench love, neither can the floods drown it. His voice was calm, gentle. What about the twins? Again her eyes filled. The seraph's arm was strong as it held her. I do not know. But you know that El told my father to build an ark. Yes, that I know. But you don't know about the twins? We do not have to know everything. But you could ask. We have asked. Are the stars silent too? The stars are silent. Ariel, I'm afraid. Fear not, I will hold you, he promised. I am more afraid for the sand and the Den than I am for myself. I love them, and they love you. I don't want them to die. Will they die? Ariel folded his wings about her. He did not look at her. I do not know. Sandy slept. He still did not understand his reaction to Tigla and her proposals for escape, but after a while he stopped questioning himself. When the time came for him to do something, he would know what to do. Daylight was not a good time for escape, perhaps in the cover of night. Twin! It was Tigla's voice, Tigla's smell. She pegged open the flap. You have a visitor, she said. He sat up, instantly alert. So her father and brother had come to kill him. But it was Rofo Kale who came into the tent, bowing low to enter so that his flaming wings dragged in the dust. Like Sandy, he was too tall to stand upright in this small tent. With great swift grace, he sat, facing Sandy, staring at him with garnet eyes. His bright hair was tied back, his cheeks white as snow. He thrust out one hand and touched Sandy on the knee. The touch was that cold which is so cold that it burns. Sandy flinched but did not cry out. Why are you still here? Rofo Kale demanded. Sandy replied in his calmest voice, I have been kidnapped and I am being held hostage. If I escape and leave this tent, I will be easily seen. There is no way I can lose myself in a crowd. I am as tall as you are. I'd make an easy target. Why have you come? Come? I didn't come. Tigla's father and brother kidnapped me, and I suspect you put them up to it. Rofocale said, "I am not asking why you are here in this tent. I am asking why you and your brother chose to come to this oasis." "It was a mistake," Sandy said, as he had said to Tigla. Rofocale again stretched out his hand, again touched Sandy on the knee. Sandy had been frostbitten one winter, and this was how it had felt. "If it was a mistake for you two to come, why do you not leave?" Sandy said slowly, deliberately. "We will leave when it is time to leave." "And how, then, do you plan to leave?" "How, indeed? We will know that when the time comes. You do not belong here. No, I belong with Noah and his family." Rofocale made a noise like a mosquito shrill. "You do not belong here on this oasis. There are no giants like you in this time and place. Why do you not have wings?" We fly in planes and spaceships." "What?" The Nephilim did not know everything. Sandy said, "We have machines that fly." "Can you leave the planet?" "We have gone to the moon. We fly among the stars." "You?" "I am too young," Sandy said. "My father has made several space flights." "Did El send you to torment us?" "What do you think?" Sandy asked. "You are not of us, the Nephilim. Neither are you, I think, of the Seraphim." "No, we are human beings." "Mortals?" "Yes." "Then why have you come?" "It was a mistake," Sandy said again. "Would you like me to take you out of this place, this little tent?" "No." "They will come and kill you." "Perhaps." "Noah is unwilling to give up his vineyards." "He is quite right. One does not give in to terrorists." "You are foolish. I could give him the message if you like. If you ask him, I think he will give up the vineyards." "I wouldn't ask him." "Then you will die." "You'd like that, wouldn't you?" Sandy asked. "Perhaps you'd like to kill me yourself." "I will leave you. You are insolent." "Why don't you like us, my brother and me?" "You do not belong in our world. You will cause trouble. I think you have been sent to cause trouble to the Nephilim." Rofocale rose. Energy crackled in the air so that Sandy's skin prickled, and a mosquito flew away. In a few minutes, Tigla came in. "Did he tell you?" She was giggling, in the light slanting from outside. The dimple in her chin seemed to cleft. "That your father and brother planned to kill me?" "Yes, he told me." "Not that." She was consumed with laughter. He saw nothing funny. "What then?" "About Noah." "He said that Noah is unwilling to give up his vineyards." "No, not that either." "What then?" He was irritated at her giggles. "Noah is building a boat! A boat!" Her laughter pealed out. Sandy sat up, asked carefully, "Why is he building a boat?" "An ark, he says." Her laughter was derisive. "The nearest sea or river is moons away." "Then why is he doing it?" Sandy asked. "Who knows? Is he building it by himself?" "Oh, no, it is a very big boat. I mean hugely big. His sons are helping him. He says it is going to rain." Her laughter jarred against Sandy's ears. "We have rain only in the spring, and then not much. He is the laughing-stock of the oasis." Sandy sat alert, watching her. "Rofocale thinks he may be building it to get rid of you. A boat where there is no water is silly." "I'm hungry," Sandy said. "Oh, I've brought you more food." "Then just leave it with me," she pouted. "Why don't you want me to sit and talk with you while you eat? I'll unbind your hands and feet." "I'll manage." Sandy flexed his muscles so that the thongs looked tight. "I need to think." "About that silly ark?" "About a lot of things." "Well, all right." She left the tent, returned with a bowl of stew. "You're sure you don't want me to stay?" Sandy was firm. "Quite sure. Give up, Tigla. Go." Pouting, she went. He sniffed at the stew. Ugh, it was spoiling. He pushed it aside, worked his hands out of the thongs, unbound his feet. If Noah was already building the ark, there was no time to wait. Dangerous or not, as soon as it got dark, Sandy would leave the tent, head for the desert, try to find out where on the oasis he was being held, and head for whichever was nearer, Grandfather Lamech's tent or Noah's. Then he lay down to rest and wait for nightfall. "They have gone too far," Noah said, "taking our sand." The family was gathered back in the tent, retreating from the heat of the sun. Ham said, "You're certainly not going to give them the vineyards." Noah shook his head. I told them that I would not, but now I have already turned one of the older vineyards that needed replanting into a lumber yard. What difference will the vineyards make if they are all covered with water? Ham said. We are helping you with this idiocy, Father, because you have asked us to, but surely you don't believe there will be that much rain. That is what I have been told. Shem had returned from hunting and was sitting on a pile of skins with Sella next to him. You're sure it was the voice of El? I am sure, Elishaba suggested. It couldn't maybe have been the voice of a Nephil? I know the voice of El from that of a Nephil. They mimic very cleverly. El is El. If one of the Nephil tried to sound like El, then El would tell me that. Matred looked up from her stew pot. When will the rain start? When the ark is ready. Shem said, What about our sisters and their husbands and their children? Noah wiped his hands across his beard. I am to make a window in the ark, and set a door out to the side with lower second and third stories. El told me that I am to bring in animals of every kind, and my wife, my sons, and their wives. Oholibama's voice was sharp. What about Yalith? Noah shook his head sorrowfully. Shem protested. But it's going to be a big boat, Father. Surely there's room for more than just 8 of us. Animals, Noah repeated, of every kind. When the flood waters abate, there will be both animal and human beings to repopulate the earth. I don't believe any of this, Ham said, but if it should come to pass, I will give my place on this ark to Yalith. Oholibama looked at him in grateful surprise. Nonsense, Anna said. When you build the ark and nothing happens, how are you going to face everybody? Noah stroked his beard. I obey El. And our twins, Oholibama asked. What about them? And where is the sand? Elishaba asked. Japheth and the den will find him, Noah said. Sella raised her trunk and bugled. And if they do not return with the sand tomorrow, with the sand by sunrise, I will change my mind. I will give them the vineyards. When the flood waters abate, I will plant new vines. Ham said wonderingly, You really believe there is going to be a flood? We don't have enough rain, even in the spring, to be of any use. If it weren't for our wells, there would be no oasis, Shem asked. Has our father ever made a fool of himself before? No, Anna replied, but there is always a first time. Admiel, the white camel, crossed the length of the oasis to where Sandy was imprisoned. It was the farthest end of the oasis, as far from Noah's tent in one direction as was Grandfather Lamech's in the other. Admiel did not go up to the tent, but folded himself down on the ground a few yards away to wait. At Nakiel, the giraffe grazed on some tender leaves, stretching his long golden neck. High up in the trees, sleeping during the daylight hours, sat a Catriel, the owl, his head hunched into his feathers. Together they waited, and we will pause there.